I'm Mark Philpott, the founder of the Humanity Organization. Thank you so much for wanting to be a guest on one of my podcast shows. Back in July 2019, I started my journey into the podcast world, and since then, you know what? I've interviewed over 200 amazing people all across the world. Today I have 3 shows. I have a travel podcast, I have a business podcast, and I have another podcast that's just about conversations, talking to people around the world about all kinds of amazing things. So I thought it might be a good idea to put together this short video to share with you about what you need to prepare to be a guest on my show and to make it easier for you. My goal is to produce outstanding content, whether it be audio quality or video quality. So I thought it might be a good tip to share with you some ideas after interviewing all of those people, the things that I've learnt on how to make sure that we're going to have the best possible experience. I've broken it up into 3 different categories: before the show, during the show, and after the show. So let's talk about each one of those, and I'll share with you what I think is the best things for us to do together. First of all, before the show, I need to get to know you a little bit. So if you can send me your bio, just in 150 or 200 words, and tell me about yourself. Tell me about what you're doing today, and that gives me some idea on doing some further research on you. Also, I need to have your Skype address. We're going to be communicating via Skype because the back-end software that I use to produce my high production show is done through Skype. So please send me your Skype address. And all of these things that I'm asking for now can be sent to me via email to mark.philpott@humanity.com. And I'm going to put all the details in the show notes of this video so you can easily follow up on them. The next thing I need from you is all of your social media links, including your website address. I want to be able to promote you in every way that I possibly can for this episode. So if I've got all those links, then I can join your pages, I can follow you, I can like and make comments, and I can help to get your name across our network. Talking of networks, we actually go to over 103 countries across the world now with our shows, and we have tens of thousands of listeners, and we've just started our journey on YouTube. So while the YouTube numbers are not huge yet, we're starting to make our presence, and after just 4 or 5 weeks, we've got thousands of viewers on YouTube. So we're excited by that as well. Now, what else do I need from you before the show? Well, I need a couple of high-resolution photographs. Now, please send me something that's relevant to today. I don't want to have 20-year-old photographs of you. And they have to be high-resolution and a minimum of 1400 pixels. That's very important for the quality purposes. Now, once we get ourselves ready for the show, I'll do my research and background on you, and I'll probably find some things out that a lot of people don't know about you, so be prepared for that. We're going to have a bit of fun. Now, during the show, there's some obvious things that we can do together to make the production really, really good. Please be in a space that's very quiet. So don't be somewhere where you're going to have a lot of road noise or people traffic or animals going past or in the room. And try and limit anybody else coming in and making any distractions at all. I know it's easy for a baby to cry or for a dog to start barking, but if you can find a space where you're going to be uninterrupted for the time that we're going to spend together, that will be absolutely perfect. Now also be mindful of echoing rooms. It's something that happens a lot on the show. People just don't think about it until the last minute, and it can be a real distraction and really have a big impact on the quality of the show. Now, I know a lot of you have been podcast guests before. It's becoming a really big thing around the world. And I know a lot of you have done interviews with the media before. But this is my show, and I have some different ground rules because I want to make the best possible career that I can out of this. I've got a lot of people helping me now, and we're investing a lot of time and a lot of effort into making the best possible content we can. So I ask you for some commitment in these areas. Now, the first one is have a look at the equipment you use. A lot of people are using these kind of earbud things for headphones. They're okay, but they're not brilliant and they don't give the best audio quality. So if you're looking for perhaps upgrading to get some new equipment, I'll make a couple of suggestions for you. And just before I do, I'm not getting paid or have any affiliation to any of these companies. I use these headphones here. They're over-the-air headphones, which make everything much more quieter. And I know a lot of ladies don't like wearing headphones during interview. They want to look as good as they can. Well, I can tell you, ladies, I'd much rather you have a set of headphones over your ears than worrying too much about what you look like on the camera. But these are fantastic. These are actually a brand called AKG. AKG, they're for under 100 Australian dollars. I got these, and they're really, really, really good. Now, the next thing we need to be mindful of is the microphone. Yes, microphones can really destroy a podcast episode. Now, I use an ATR 2020 USB microphone. This is the microphone I use. I've been using that since the beginning of my podcasting career, and it's fantastic. So for just over 100 Australian dollars, you can get one of these microphones. And if you are a regular podcast guest or doing interviews, or you're just spending a lot of time online doing conference calls or whatever, it's a sound investment to make, because people are going to really notice the difference in quality output coming from your end. And let's face it, the more professional you can look, whether you're doing a podcast interview or whether you're doing something for your business or even talking to your family and friends across the world, the better it is for everybody. So I'm really, really big on the equipment. And if you want to make a small investment to make such a big difference on our podcast experience, then I would really appreciate that. I am going to say to you, if you're not going to make an investment and you want to go with the equipment you've got, I'll make the final decision on whether the show goes to air or not based on the quality that we get. I'm not going to put out okay content. I want to put out exceptional content. So it's just the way that I am. If I'm going to do something in my life and commit to it, I'm going to make sure that I do it the best possible way. And unfortunately, I've had to turn down a couple of people who just weren't prepared to do that. And I respect it. There's no issue at all. It's just the way that I like to run my show. Okay, so we've done the show. We've had a fantastic time. You've got great gear. And how does the show evolve after there? Well, the important thing, I think, is to get as many people listening to your show as possible. And over those 200 episodes that I've done, I've learned a lot about the distribution of podcast. And just 4 weeks ago, we started our YouTube journey as well. So now we have a video content that we're distributing. And those numbers are slowly and steadily really starting to take off. So it's exciting to see the YouTube channel coming together as well. But as far as the podcast audio version goes, we go to 17 different distribution channels, including places like Spotify, like Apple Podcasts and Stitcher and iHeartRadio, and all of those other brilliant podcast hosting sites. So I want to make sure that we get those out to as many people in your network as we possibly can. Social media is an obvious one. So we're going to be sending you some graphics from my team that you can use to post on your social media pages. You don't even have to create them. We'll do it for you. And we'll send you the links to the shows so you can post them wherever you want to do. Some of the places or things that I've found that are really good to promote podcast is doing an email blast to your network. Once you've got the links from the show, you can send it directly out and say, hey, listen guys, I was on this podcast show. It's really good. Have a listen or have a look at it just by clicking on this link. People tend to follow up on those things because it's coming from a more personalized nature than being sprayed around on social media. The other thing that I do is word of mouth. It's very important. In fact, word of mouth is the most popular way to grow podcasts today. So if you've had a great experience with me, which I'm sure you're going to, please tell as many people for it as long as you possibly can that you're on the podcast show, and we'll get lots and lots of people listening to it. And don't forget about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very good platform to post your podcast show experiences on. A lot of people in the business world are getting into podcasting, and on LinkedIn I find it to be a bit of a secret weapon. So there we go. We've got before the show, we've got during the show, and we've got after the show. All very important components to us having a fantastic experience. Now, as I said, I'm going to put all the links to those details in the show notes today so you can read them from this particular video. And if you've got any questions at all, just reach out to me by email. I'm more than happy to make sure that you're well prepared that I'm well prepared, and that we're going to have a fantastic experience together. Okay, so all that's left is let's make this amazing podcast together. I'm really looking forward to you being on my show, and I can't wait to see you soon.